history, and those ones you might not get approved for. Whereas the other one that's not going in too much in depth, they're not going to give you a high approval rate in terms of a high death benefit, but they will give you some type of coverage, and you won't have to go into all of the screening like the other one. So it
That's
kind of just depends in terms of what you're looking for, what you kind of want the policies to do. But again, it goes back to the fact that unfortunately, life insurance is not something that everyone can get approved for when we wait too long. That's why I always say, like, you should get it as early as possible because you never know what life is going to throw at you. You might not know what you're going to get caught up in. You might not know what health issue it is that you may end up having, and that's going to impact you later on in life when you actually deem life insurance being important for you or for your family or whatever it is that you need it for. So we kind of have to see what the insurance carriers will even approve you for, and then once we get all those options, then we can kind of determine, okay, this is what they will give you as the approximate monthly premium that you will pay for X amount of coverage, and then actually come back and present the options. That's why I'm not really a person that kind of throws out there a lot like, oh, you can get this amount of coverage for X amount of money, because everybody's situation is not the same. Everybody's health is not the same. Everybody's criminal history is not the same. And quite frankly, while it's a good industry to be in because you get to help people, the dark side of that too is that as an insurance broker, you work for the people. You don't work for the insurance company. The insurance company themselves, they're not trying to pay you. They have thousands of lawyers on their payroll just to try not to pay people out. That's why when somebody dies, they go extensively into their history. They gonna dive way deeper into your medical history to see if anything come up to try not to pay that policy out. They're gonna go through your social media and see if you've been doing any bungee jumping out of planes, just doing something crazy that was risking your health, to see if that partakes in how you end up passing away. They're not trying to pay you out. Us as the broker is who's actually on your side and trying to get you the best coverage and trying to get that policy to pay out. So that's why you also don't go through certain companies that might not have a strong financial backing either. So it's a lot of work it is that you got to do. That's why it's not necessarily an industry that you want to be in if you just want to make money, but you don't really care to help people either.
yeah. That's glad because my company is Cubby Ho, create urban built businesses, help others learn economics. That's just, you said that. Okay, so two things that I want to touch on. One is, and I just want to throw it out so we both remember. One is the one for myself would be I would be interested in trying to know more about the one that doesn't have a lot of screening. But again, I'm 45. I done been through three things, and I understand like my life is a little different. But I also have like children. So my daughters is like 24 and 22 years old, and they're healthy. Like they don't have criminal histories at all. And then I have a baby that's due on the 16th of June. So it's like them is the ones that I really want to focus on at the end of the day. That's still me. Those are my seeds, you know what I'm saying? That's still my bloodline. So those are ones that I want to make sure that I'm willing to pay their deductibles or things like that to make sure that they're okay and things like that. And of course, a newborn baby is not going to have a criminal history, and
Right.
hopefully right now so
That's
far
actually
everything's
the
healthy.
best time to get them coverage because I personally had a friend, when he had his baby, I told him to get his baby covered because you can get your child coverage at 14 days old. He didn't listen to me, and now his son, he ended up developing a heart condition when he was about 3 months. He can never get insurance coverage again. So that's the best time to get your kids covered, and you can get them a permanent policy that's extremely cheap.
So that's the one,
And then for
honestly.
your
Sorry not to jump in, but honestly, like I was thinking about it for myself, but I'm not really worried about mine, like me as a personal. But I just wanted to know at the time, like what the options for that is. But the main thing I'm really focused on, and the one that I'm really interested on, is the baby that's about to be born on the 16th. And like I wanna start with that one, and that's the main reason why I wanted to get into this. So how would I go about that? Me myself, we can exit out that. I kind of understand what you meant by that, what you were saying with that. My 24-year-old, 22-year-old, that's not really that's something I can sit down with them and they'll figure out on their own which way they want to go with it. But for the newborn, for the baby, like I want to make sure a lot of the mistakes that I wasn't taught and that I was going through growing up, my daughter's not going to have to go through when she's here. So how would I go about getting life insurance for my newborn?
Yeah, so once the newborn is born, you said June 16th, so by the 30th, we can look into getting coverage, and then we can look at some options, which the babies, normally they're going to get a permanent policy anyways. You can't really look at getting a term policy on a baby. So we can look at a whole life policy where you can pay anywhere from $5 to $10 a month, and that'll stay in place for the rest of their life. That'll be a whole life policy. Usually you can get up to $50,000 of coverage. In that regard, it does grow cash value, but it grows very, very slow. So if they ever wanted to use like money out of that policy, that's not really a policy that they'll want to use it for. Or you can get them an IUL, and in that one, you get that same death benefit, but it also grows cash, and it grows cash value much faster. So you might get like anywhere from 2 to 4% in a whole life policy, but if you get an IUL, you might get anywhere from like 8 to 11% of interest that's going to compound in that policy. But either way you go, both of them, they'll be a permanent policy. And the whole life policy, the insurance company kind of tells you what you pay, but again, the amount, since she's a newborn, it'll be very cheap. Whereas if you get an IUL, you kind of tell the company all around like what you want to pay, how you want to build the policy. You get complete flexibility in terms of what you want to do with that insurance policy and what you want to use the money for. The other thing with that is that you still are the owner of that it is that you want with that policy.
So for the newborn, if I'm able and I'm willing to, like, say I want to pay like $200 a month for the newborn, even if it's a $5 policy, how would that go if I wanted?
So you can kind of do whatever.
Skip what you say? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
So what happens is you will have it'll give you like a yearly amount that you can stuff into an insurance policy, so that way you don't have to pay taxes on it. A lot of people, whether they have small kids or whether they're adults, they have IULs because you don't pay taxes on the money that's in that account. So usually it'll give you, like, for example, I'm just throwing some numbers out there, so don't quote me. It might say like you can put up to $5,000 a year into this policy before you ever will have to consider paying taxes, and that's the number that you want to stay underneath. So if you had a monthly premium and you paying $50 a month, you might get an extra $200 that you want to put in this month. You can put that in. You might get an extra $400 next month that you want to put in. You can put that in. You might want to pay extra money every single month outside that monthly premium, and you can do that because it's just going to grow more and more cash in terms of what you put in that policy. Yeah. And then if you end up needing that money later on down the line, at that point in time, then you're able to take out a loan. You want to take it out as a loan to withdraw, because it's like if you put money in a 401k and you take money out, you only earn interest on whatever money is still in that 401k, but you can both lose money and gain money. When you put money into an IUL, you can only gain money. You don't ever lose money if the market go down. So if you take it out as a loan, it still grows interest as if you never took out that money. And then whenever you choose to pay that money back, you just pay that money back. Or if you never pay it back, it will impact the growth of that account. But if you end up passing away, then essentially they'll just pay off whatever loan amount you took out with the policy, and then whatever else is left over, then that goes to your beneficiary.
Okay. Yeah, and see, that's good because you're answering some questions. Like, for instance, like, I stopped drinking. Like, I don't drink, I don't smoke or anything like that. So the money that I used to spend on drinking and smoking, you know, I want to put into like stuff like life insurance and buying land and stuff for my daughter that's about to be born. So the options, like right now, what I'm saying, like if I spend like $500 a month on alcohol and $700 a month on weed, and I put that towards the just investing into the baby's life insurance policy. Yeah, I wanted to see how that would grow in terms of making sure the baby is going to be set for life. You know, the generational wealth realm that, again, we weren't taught, and you know, they Black Wall Street, people scared to bring it back, and you know, I don't want my baby to have to go through that. You know, and now that I'm waking up to a lot of ways that I didn't know when I was little, I want to be able to protect my daughter from having to go down that route. You know, so those are the options I was thinking of. Like, really, honestly, like I said, in terms of like, you know, people go to AA. Oh, back when I used to drink, and bro, it's 13 years later, you still talk about drinking. What did you do with the money that you didn't spend on alcohol? Like, you just got drunk, bro. Like, I don't want to talk about alcohol. I want to talk about something that make me want to drink. The stuff we talk about make people want to drink. You know what I'm saying? I don't have that issue. Like, I'm not drinking because I'm just not. I have a newborn on the way. It's not work. And then I'm in school now. You know, I just dropped $165,000 for a bachelor's course. You know what I'm saying? And I wanna start investing into something better and showing my daughter that, because I'm not gonna lie, we was lied to growing up. The stuff that I learned growing up has nothing to do with how life really is. So I don't want my daughter to grow up to that. So yeah, again, the money that I was spending, because I was spending a lot of money on alcohol and weed. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the money I was spending on alcohol and weed, I'd rather just put into investing into my baby so that when they grow up, their kids, great grandkids will be okay.
And that's the other thing.